Vivek Ramaswamy did post about his interesting take on voters and how he wants to increase the voter age to 25 for some Americans.
He's nuts. The biggest focus right now we have to realize is that the Republicans have been ignoring the younger crowd for what, the last 25 years? We have to do just the opposite. How are you ever going to have people vote for you if you were going to take their right to vote? Could you imagine how many women would be voting for Vivek if he said, the women are not going to vote anymore, I'm going to take away their right to vote? Do you think he would ever have a chance of winning an election? How stupid can you be? I think that may be the nuttiest thing I've ever heard.
And coming from that guy, well, that is Perry Johnson, a Michigan businessman and French GOP presidential candidate, talking about another long-shot GOP presidential candidate and businessman, Vivek Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy recently said the voting age should be raised from 18 to 25 unless people younger than 25 pass a civics test. Ramaswamy's proposal has been widely criticized, and his presidential campaign has been widely ridiculed, even by conservative media figures who suspect that Ramaswamy is running just to get a little attention and stroke his own conservative ego.
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to look you right in the eye. I don't think you're going to be president, but you might be vice president. You might be a cabinet member. You might be highly involved, and you might be president down the road.
I enjoy building businesses, writing books, and leading in other ways. But I'm in this race, Eric, because I do think we can take the America First agenda to the next level. As Reagan did in 1980, I think we can actually revive what it means to be an American based on first principles and moral authority, not just vengeance and grievance. So I am actually in this race to win. I'm polling ahead of where Trump was when he came down the escalator of June of 2015, and everybody said the same thing about him back then as well. I admire what he did, but I'm the new outsider in this race. You follow those trends in the polls over the last 6 weeks, you probably are. You'll see that I'm on a trajectory similar to what Trump was on in the summer of 2015.
Yes, Ramaswamy is calling himself an outsider and comparing himself to both Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan. Well, let the record reflect once again that to run for president, you need an incredible amount of self-confidence and perhaps even some delusion. Vivek Ramaswamy has all of that in abundance. Now, to be fair, many of Ramaswamy's libertarian views have some conservative appeal, and he is a bright, articulate, and successful entrepreneur who does come across as sophisticated and sharp. However, Ramaswamy's campaign is still a long shot, and proposing to throw out or ignore part of the Constitution is generally not a great way to gain political traction. The right to vote at age 18 is enshrined in the Constitution's 26th Amendment. Anyway, back to the candidate we saw at the top of this video, Perry Johnson. When you are getting blasted by Johnson as nutty, you have clearly proposed something that is exceptionally insane. Last year, Johnson tried to run for Michigan governor, but was deemed by the state's election bureau to have filed thousands of fraudulent nominating signatures. In Michigan, a lot of Republicans describe Johnson as something of a kook, so when he calls you or your proposal the nuttiest thing ever heard, it is worth noting. A reporter interviewing Johnson did ask him about voting demographics, though. Watch.
Vivek is a millennial running for government, and that's kind of his main platform. Why should people turn to you and say, hey, Perry, you're the one to represent us as millennials or Gen Zs?
Well, he's a millennial who's 37 who wants to cut out all the people under the age of 25. I'm a guy that has been living his whole life in this country, thinks it's the greatest country in the world, and wants everyone to participate in politics, because I know if we get people involved, we're going to continue improving this country and continue to make this country the greatest country in the world. But I also have been the only guy that has spent his entire life bringing quality and efficiency to companies. Notice, I have a plan. I'm the only guy that actually has a plan and wrote a book about what to do.
He has a plan and wrote a book about the economy. That's true, and Johnson's 70-plus companies are successful, but will Republican voters listen to Johnson or Vivek Ramaswamy in the face of Trump and DeSantis? I doubt it. But that's the great thing about presidential election campaigns. The voters get to decide what they like and what they don't and what is too extreme. And when there is a demolition derby among the also-rans, it can be interesting. Tell me your thoughts in the comments section. And by the way, a federal prosecutor now appears to have a smoking gun in the Trump documents obstruction case. Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.